Welcome to the first Deep End Invitational. Mike Schopp, Adam Krautwurst. I'm drafting tonight. The names in this tournament, 48 players, incredible. Can't wait to start. I think we already started. So with no further ado, here are the Sharks. Welcome to the Deep End Invitational. Let's go.
What a night. We've been waiting for this all year. And listen, props to you, Mike. I know you're thinking about your first pick coming up here, but you did a marvelous job putting this little tournament together. It's my kind of baby, as you call it, but you put in all the legwork to get this bad boy going. So thank you for doing that. And let's go. I'm excited.
Off and running, right?
Off and running.
The RotoViz best ball format. So FFPC built this for us. It's the Dynasty format normally, but they have made this available to us here in a best ball format, much like the Draft Sharks Invitational of the last 2 years. The scoring may be identical to that. So here we go. That's the first round. If you're watching, you can see it. And I am up.
Yeah, you think about making your pick. So Deep End Invitational is a fun little full format. It's super flex. It's tight end premium, obviously at the FFPC. It's best ball, slim, no kickers, no defenses. And it's one quarterback, 2 running backs, 3 receivers, 2 flex, one of which can be a super flex, and a tight end. So you can start up to 5 receivers. You can start. You're probably going to want to start 2 quarterbacks. It's tight end premium. So there's nothing really out there like it. I mean, we use the RotoViz TriFlex FFPC format here, but they only offer that on the FFPC for Dynasty. So this is the only kind of tournament that we'll have for this format. And the best of the best in this room, and you go with a guy we talked about before the show with the 106, Justin Herbert.
Right. 4 drafts, 12 teams each night this week here on the Player Profiler Network, 8 Eastern for each, and they all should be bangers. Let's first meet everybody. Not that everybody's sitting, in the back. It's not like that, but just so you know who's drafting tonight, especially for people who aren't watching but they're listening to our podcast, later on. At the 101 is Ben Gretch. This man is a flat-out thief, stealing signals and lines, even bananas. I mean, they're so cheap. I don't get why anybody would need to steal bananas, but that's Ben. 2 is Pat Daugherty, NBC Sports. Love seeing Pat on more shows recently. He's one of my favorites. Zach Krueger, who you know from Roto World and also Scott Fishbowl, 12 and 13 live Buffalo events, drives to Buffalo to be a part of that night. Yeah. Zach is really special to us. Jared Smola, the brains behind Draft Sharks. Not the only brains. A big portion of the brains behind Draft Sharks is Jared. The Guilds, we drafted a main event team with them last week. Am I up yet? You'll tell me. You'll stop me, right? Andrew Geller.
You got time. You got time.
High stakes player, baseball 2, main event last week here on the Deep End. I'm 6. Alan Seslowsky of RotoWire is 7. Had a nice chat with him on his podcast a couple of months ago. Ian Hartitz at 108. MB Fantasy Life. Duke Johnson, fan club president. Ian is another of my favorites. We shook hands at the expo. Pat Kerrane, legendary upside, legendary winner of Best Ball Mania 3. Pat's been on our podcast, The Deep End, as well this summer, and it was a real treat. Peter Overzet at 110, captain of the ship chasing crew, Best Ball Breakfast, Deposit Kingdom, something about a porno today. I can't keep up with Pete. I was honored to be on his Best Ball After Dark show earlier this season. Louis G, analytics are for the nerds. Louis and I are partnering in the main event again this year out in Las Vegas in just over 2 weeks. And at the 112, Jay Reid chasing the helmet. Adam, one of our first ever podcast guests with Scott Connor, who will be in the tournament later this week.
Yes, Jay Reid was, and Jay Reid chasing the helmet podcast that got me into wanting to do a high stakes podcast. So I always thank them whenever I see them. But what a crew! I mean, listen. We all love the pros versus Joes, but there's no Joes in any of these drafts. It's all high stakes superstars and fantasy experts in air quotes with skin in the game, right? So that's what we're all about here. But no, this is great. Each league winner gets a Fantasy Pros ticket next year, FFPC Fantasy Pros tournament ticket, $350 value. And the overall champion, this is best ball. We're going to have an overall champion gets a main event ticket next year as well. So I'm fired up. And yeah, what a crew.
What a crew. I'll be up here in round 2 shortly, but I'm eager to go through round 1. These guys are going to fly tonight.
This draft is flying.
Everybody was here on time. I take that as a nice compliment. Ben Gretch goes Jalen Hurts at 101, Mahomes at 102. Zach takes Jefferson at 103. This format is set up to—
You're on the clock, Mike.
I got it. Reward different builds, right?
Yeah, it's where you can go any route, right? So you can go, instead of premiums, you can go tight end early. You have to start 3 receivers. You can start up to 5. So you want to go receiver heavy. It's super flex. You're definitely going to want to take, 2 quarterbacks pretty high. You still can't forget about the running backs. So there's so many different ways to build. And that's the most interesting thing about all this, because at this point, we're in late August. We're talking about like FFPC main event drafts and, all these FFWC and all these other sites and that do their main event drafts. And it's the same kind of thing that we're looking at. All the boards are the same. And all that. This board is going to be crazy. There's 4 drafts, 4 straight nights. All the boards are going to be completely different when you go through these, which is the fun of it.
Last year, so the first 2 years, or the last 2 years, were the Draft Sharks Invitational that has since been passed down to us. Adam finished second the first year out of 72.
I finished second overall the second year out of 72.
Oh, yeah?
Yes. You finished. Go ahead. Continue.
Second overall last year.
Yes. The third.
Oh,
the
right.
third
There
year.
were 3 years. I get that wrong all the time. Pete Overzet won the first year. Chad Schroeder the second. John Scuderi the third. Right. I do not know who finished second the first year, and you may not care. But Adam got second the second year out of 72 teams. I got second last year out of 72 teams. Drafting in the first one, I think there might have been a little bit of— this is a super flex draft last year that benefited me. And as a co-organizer, I could not let that happen this year. There were questions right up until the final hours of this thing, but I think and I hope everybody knows the format as we start. So round 1, Hurts, Mahomes, Jefferson to Zach, the first diversion from quarterback at 103. Jared Smola takes Josh Allen at 4. Gilds takes Lamar Jackson at 5. I would have at 6, but I didn't. Justin Herbert at 6 for me. Justin Fields at 107. Ian Hartitz takes Travis Kelce at 108. Joe Burrow to Pat Kerrane at 109. Jamar Chase to Pete Overzet at 110. Trevor Lawrence to Louis G at 111. And then Tyreek Hill, Stephon Diggs to Jay on the turn. Quick reaction?
Yeah, I mean, Allen at 104 is sensational. You know how I feel about Josh Allen. No running backs in the entire first round. Again, super flex, you'll have that type of thing, but to have 3 receivers go in a tight end into Travis Kelce, no running backs, fine. This build probably the tournament leans to going 0 RB or hero RB or something like that. So that's all fine. And 3 running backs to kick off the second, but nothing too crazy here out of the ordinary. Jefferson, wide receiver 1, Chase, Hill. Cooper Kupp falls a little bit behind Diggs and Hill, but
yeah, that's true. Yeah,
that's probably the only ADP thing that I really see happening. But other than that, when you're doing these, a lot of times you're doing like tier based drafting, right? Because there's not really ADP for this type of tournament, so you're really going off of your tiers. Like, okay, even a guy like Zach, like, okay, most people have Allen, Mahomes, and Hurts, and we'll ask him when he comes on, but Allen, Mahomes, and Hurts is their top tier. Maybe he doesn't see it that way. Maybe he has Jefferson. He likes the receiver tier ahead of the end of the QB1 tier. So we'll see. We'll talk to these guys, and it'll be interesting to see kind of how they want to build their teams. And you are on deck, so I'll keep talking here.
Was Andrews a reach at 207?
Not if you want a top 2 to tight end. I mean, you got to that's where you're probably going to have to take him, because he usually goes around Javonte. So maybe he could have fallen to you in the third, but I don't hate it at all. Well,
anything can work.
Well, Lamar also was behind you too for 2 picks. So like, there's a chance there that he takes that Gilds takes Andrews, and I know that Gilds likes him because we did a main event together. So I know he would definitely take Andrews there, but only 4 running backs gone through the first like 20, 30, 24, 30 picks. So,
And I take the fourth of them, Tony Pollard, RB4 at 306. I got a couple of plans here, but they could easily get scuttled in this room or in any room.
getting scuttled.
But it's hashtag scuttled.
Speaking of scuttled,
you know,
we have a guest in the back.
Just if he doesn't mind waiting for another 30, 40 seconds,
right.
I want to just do one quick thing before we bring Jared on. Mike Schopp, Adam Krautwurst. This is the Deep End, and now a word from our sponsor. Thank you.
Hey, people always ask me, what's the World Series of Fantasy? What's the Super Bowl of Fantasy? And it's easy. It's the FFPC. Their signature Players Championship has a $6 million prize pool, and their best ball leagues start in February. And they're the answer to so many questions. Hey, what's the best place to get a Dynasty Orphan? Well, you can adopt a Dynasty Orphan at the FFPC right now. There's more orphans at the FFPC than anywhere else on the internet. That's why we partner with them. So if you want to play fantasy football for low, medium, high stakes, you love Dynasty, you love best ball, you love seasonal leagues, all types of fantasy footballers need to go to the FFPC. And remember, use promo code Underworld. Promo code Underworld gets you $25 off your first team. Promo code Underworld, $25 off your first team, no matter what the format is, at the FFPC. Go get it.
Mike and Adam, end of round 3, the Deep End Invitational. Jared, was that rude? I hope not. I haven't seen you in a while. I hope I wasn't rude just then, making you wait.
No, I'm happy to be back, guys. Happy to be on the show with you.
Thank you.
Sorry for my lighting looks very unprofessional tonight. I apologize. I usually have the ring light usually, but my setup can't handle like 3 things being plugged in, and I need my my second monitor here for the draft board. So I had to go without the ring light.
It does appear we both have a trophy that maybe were made by the same trophy.
Oh, is that Trophy Smack? Are we giving out free? Who knows?
Jared, what do you think of your start?
I'm thrilled. I know everyone comes on and says that, but I mean, to me, Josh Allen should be the 101. So I was very happy to get him at 4. And then you know what? At my second pick, I was deciding between 3 guys: CeeDee Lamb, Deshaun Watson, and then someone who still hasn't even come off the board yet. So I was able to, I took Lamb in round 2, was pumped to see Watson still there in round 3. I'd be shocked if this other guy makes it back to me, but we'll see.
I was close to Lamb at 207, but I love Andrews, and it's on brand for me. I thought I'll try to, maybe get a receiver in the next round. Didn't end up happening that way, but I was close to Lamb. Lamb was my plan B there.
So talk to us. Listen, first of all, I miss you. Okay. We never, we always, because I'm just Josh Allen 101. Like, you're speaking my language. Talk to me about Josh Allen at the 101. The real brief, because I know a lot of people think Hurts is the 101. Clearly, Ben Gretch does. And the Cliff Notes version on why you have Josh as the number 1 QB.
Well, he's led quarterbacks in fantasy points per game in each of the last 2 seasons. If you want to look at, like top 3 level scoring weeks, like the spike weeks, he beat Mahomes and Hurts in that category last year. So I don't know. I don't get it. But, my projections spit out Allen pretty clearly ahead of the other 2. And I'm not saying there's a massive gap. I wouldn't be shocked if Hurts or Mahomes outscores him. But, my money would definitely be on Allen if I had to bet on one of them to lead the position.
Love it. Yeah. Well, so that makes sense at the 104 there.
Guys, I'm not. Maybe you're not going to be able to sort of track the whole thing for people who aren't watching, but Jonathan Taylor just went to Pat Kerrane at 404. You guys want to talk Taylor a little bit, or maybe Adam while I go, and then Jared as well? Like,
is that what he is? RB6.
What do you think of that?
Taylor's going to play. I mean, he's going to play. Just a matter of where he plays. And Jared probably already has these projections like off to the side, waiting to post them. Like if he goes to Miami. It's probably like an upgrade. I would think from a fantasy perspective, but Jared, you can correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, I don't have the projections waiting. I'm not that prepared. I'd get them done. I'd get them done quickly. But yeah, I think Miami's probably best case among like the realistic landing spots. I'd be upset because I have so much Jeff Wilson and even quite a bit of Raheem Mostert.
Right.
But yeah. I don't know. I think Miami. And maybe they make an exception for a talent like JT, but McDaniel has seemed like he's willing to, go cheap at running back, right?
Right.
For the moves he's made over the last 2 years. I'm not sure they'd give up a ton to get JT.
Yeah.
Will they need to? That's really a question for the Colts, right? Like, I think there are plenty of teams that would be like, okay, we'll even pay him. I mean, the cap is always going up, and this AFC is so close. And these teams at the top, not a coincidence, most of them don't have an established great running back. So they could all get better. Buffalo, Kansas City, Cincinnati, Miami. They could probably all get better. And, we'll pay the money. We want to win. But what will Indianapolis need? That's what it comes down to for me, because I feel like a trade, both parties are ready.
Well, Austin Eckler was allowed to seek a trade right earlier in the offseason, and it seems like he didn't find much interest out there. And I know Taylor's younger and probably a better talent, so I'm sure there's more interest in him. But
how about Debo last year? How about Debo last year? He did the same thing, right? That went on for a long time.
Yep.
What was Derrick Henry the player you can't believe was on the board at 409?
No, it was Saquon Barkley.
Right.
Yes.
I was just going to say that.
I mean, I considered him at 209, wherever my pick was in the second round. I strongly considered taking him over Deshaun Watson in the third. So I think who got him? Ian.
Yeah.
Great pick there in the fourth.
Yeah, that raised my eyebrow that Taylor went over Barkley. That's interesting. Maybe Pat thinks that his landing spot wherever he lands will be better than him being with the Colts. So that could be interesting.
Barkley was the backup for me with Pollard. That was really close, but again, I want to do things later, so it could have been a coin flip both times.
Yeah, and who doesn't love this format? By the way, I mean we're getting Barkley, JT in the fourth round, like although Calvin Ridley belongs in the fourth round. But
this is a 20-round draft, and Adam are like, we can't go past 9:30. We got 4 nights in a row with this. This could be over by 9:30.
This could be done at 8:45.
The one thing about the analysts, Jared, we all want to get it over with. Then we want to go to the 10 o'clock rooms, the 11 o'clock, late night poker rooms, the draft rooms, and draft against people that are not getting, quite the same credit for being good at this.
I don't know, but these other guys, I got articles to write and stuff to update on the site. So it's
also a free roll.
Busy season. It's
easier to sort of just take. Free roll.
I love it.
That's right.
Well, listen. By the way, while you're making your pick, congratulations on the Fantasy Pros trophy there for the most accurate. Was it the most accurate ranker over the last 3 years?
Wow.
Yeah.
What a stud.
That was cool. It's good. This other, where am I? This other one. This is from this is like 5 years old or something. This is an old one. I haven't got the new one yet.
Okay, right there. We found it.
But yeah, I'm on the clock here. I should probably.
That's right. You should probably lock in. You should probably lock in here. But
Josh Allen, Deshaun Watson, Derrick Henry, CD Lamb sounds pretty good.
And I love those quarterbacks. Let me tell you what. And I know there's been some negative buzz on how Watson has looked in camp, but I'm still willing to just bet on that level of talent.
What's happened to me is I sort of arrived at having a lot of Watson dynasty teams, and that sort of planted a seed in my head right at the beginning of the draft season, like to sort of be careful on Watson because there's already this investment. And so as I'm up now, that's not ideal. You took Keenan Allen. I'm going to take Mike Williams. I thought there'd be a pretty good chance of one or the other. And that's what we're going to do at 506.
Keenan Allen. Yeah. Talk to us about Keenan. I know Draft Sharks is very high on Allen this season. Talk to the people about Keenan Allen.
I think the only downside is if you think he's going to get hurt, and I think injuries are tough to project. You look at over the final, I think it was 8 games of last season when he finally got over the hamstring. He was like a top 10 PPR wide receiver. I think if Quentin Johnston's ready to make a big impact this season, that mostly just comes out of what Josh Palmer got last year, right? I mean, he saw a bunch of targets. So, I mean, maybe Allen loses a little bit of volume this year, but that could also just be offset by I think the offense is going to be even faster, even more efficient under Kellen Moore. So, I think Allen, wide receiver 17, I think we have him ranked like 4 or 5 spots higher than that. Yeah,
that's all. It's the age cliff for me. I mean, I see it. I read the article. I appreciate all of it. And I'm going to get some more Keenan Allen. There were some great points in that article, but it's hard because I like kind of the running backs in that range of like a normal even here, I like the running backs in the range where Keenan Allen normally goes. It's been a little bit tougher for me to get to him.
One of the highlights of my career in fantasy is in this tournament last year when I drafted at the 112 the first night, and it was Jared who went like, actually, I like Mike Schopp's team. And that's the first time I think that had maybe ever been said. And this is a story about Jared because I did finish second. And so, good call.
He knew. Great.
What was he? Didn't you get wasn't it like Kelsey?
Kelsey and Hurts. Kelsey and Hurts.
Kelsey and Hurts. There you go.
And then Cousins later, that worked out. And then Chigokonkwo at 2501. Come on.
No, come on.
Chig.
One more play. I had it.
You might have been the first guy on Chig, Mike. There's a lot of Chig fans now, but you might have been the first.
Yeah, I wish I could tell you how or why, but I don't remember.
Jared, did you come into the draft with any type of? You don't have to give it away. Obviously, we're only a third of the way through, quarter of the way through. With any type of strategy, like positionally or tiers wise.
Yeah, so with the fourth pick, I was going to go quarterback regardless. Even if it had gone, Allen, Hurts, Mahomes, I was going to go Lamar Jackson over Jefferson or Kelsey.
Yep.
After that, my sort of loose plan was to kind of punt off quarterback and take like two later guys, which is kind of why I passed on Deshaun Watson in the second. But when he made it back to me in the third, I couldn't pass there, so that the whole wait on second quarterback plan kind of went out the window.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I think it's a lot easier in a super flex draft when you're at the top 6 or 7 or so, because you can get that ace QB, and then you can be flexible from there, right? Like, okay, if a quarterback falls, I'll take him. I don't have to push it. Whereas later on, like Trevor Lawrence, Louis took Trevor Lawrence. Like, do I go Lawrence? Do I just take, McCaffrey, Eckler, something unique like that? That's the cool thing about these type of super flex things is you can build these super teams. And if quarterbacks fall right, you can build a really cool team.
Especially in best ball, I'm willing to wait on that second quarterback spot if I need to, where I can just, take two later round guys. I don't need to worry about picking which one to start each week. I can just, hope they together kind of cobble together a decent quarterback to score.
For sure. And you're on the clock coming up here in a couple picks. So I will, you are on press coverage tomorrow at noon with Theo, another player profiler podcast. So that'll be exciting. We'll tune into that, obviously. Press coverage at noon tomorrow. You guys drafting? What are you guys doing tomorrow?
Theo hasn't told me yet.
Oh, he likes to keep it close to the vest, that guy.
Yeah, I'm sure we're just, I don't think
he does not. He sends out 24-page itemized, worksheets with questions.
Maybe he did. Maybe I just missed it. Maybe he sent it and I just missed it.
He's not listening.
I'm not trying to throw Theo under the bus here.
I always feel
I want to bring up Donovan Peoples-Jones, but I may pivot to Cedric Tillman. We'll have to see how it goes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No. Theo's the best. I always feel like when he calls me, it's something important, and it's usually like something about the show, and then I feel like he's like shopping or like mowing his lawn. Like he's always like multitasking whenever he calls me. So he's doing it right. He's doing it right.
Jared, so glad you could join us for the tournament and also on the stream. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, thanks for keeping this alive, boys.
That's right. Hold on. Let's make one more pick here live on the show.
Yeah, I got the stack there with Cooper and Watson.
The Amari Cooper stack. I love it.
Probably won't be the last Brown I draft. I'm very high on that offense.
Oh, did I just give some names away? I didn't even mean to sort of play you like that.
Donovan Peoples-Jones.
Riffing. Oh, no, it's all blown up. Sorry, Jared. Good luck next year. Better luck next year, buddy.
All right, buddy.
All right.
Thanks for coming on. We'll see you.
We are in the middle of the 6th round.
Yes.
There's a lot of quarterbacks. There was a serious may I say avalanche? Can that be used with quarterbacks in the back half of this draft, rounds 5 and 6? Pickett, Love, Purdy, which is Jay Reid's third quarterback. Murray to Pete Overzet. Stafford is Pat Kerrane's third quarterback. To go with Cup, and then Bryce Young to Ian Hartitz, who doesn't have a wide receiver yet. it's so much fun. It's so interesting to try to play against what's happening around you. And 6-7, normally that's my favorite because I want to sort of lock in and see what's happening on each side, but it's been tough tonight.
Do you think Gretch is regretting passing on Q? It's hard at the end, man. It's hard at the turn. Sometimes you got to make picks you don't want to make. And Howell, Ritter, he double taps probably like the last two. I don't have the list in front of me, but two of the last viable QB 26 and 27 there to go along with Hurts. Hurts, he's got kind of hero QB there. If he's like, hey, if I can get just a QB 2 week out of Howell or Ritter, he thinks it'll be up. But unless he's got Ritter, Pitts, Hurts, Brown. So that makes sense. I like that. Gibbs, you know how I feel about Gibbs. I love Gibbs.
I was playing for Howell, so my bet was get McLaurin first. I could have picked Howell and then McLaurin or Dotson, which maybe is what I should have done, but it's easy to say now.
Right, yeah. I mean, who knows what these guys – and yeah, you've got –
Malik Cunningham could be in my future tonight the way this draft is going at him. I feel like I'm sort of building a Justin Herbert, Malik Cunningham, Aiden O'Connell team.
Just give him Tim Tebow. Just give him Tim Tebow.
All right, round 7 here in the Deep End Invitational. Night 1 will be on each of the next 3 nights from 8 to 9-ish, 9:30. 3 more 12-team super. I mean, this is like the Royal Rumble of fantasy stretched out over a week. Why didn't WWE think of that?
The Royal Rumble.
Has this show ever sounded older by me calling it WWE? By the way,
well, what is it now?
Oh, WWF. I got it backwards.
I think
F is that's how you sound old. Is F.
That's right. Hey, Tannehill's still there?
Nope, not anymore.
QB list in front of me. That's what I'm saying. It's.
I can't play quarterback at all right now. Like it's go get the rest of it.
Yeah, you might as well just go hero QB, Mike. Come on, let's go. Who's Herbert? Who's the Herbert handcuff?
Come on. I don't think I know.
Easton
Stick, could that be right?
I don't think I gave that pick away. I don't think anyone's picking Herbert's handcuff.
Easton Stick. So my daughter plays hockey, and she might have an Easton Stick.
She might.
I might too by the end of the night.
Might be him. That's right. That's right. Oh my gosh.
Tannehill in round 6. Very different from last year, I think. I'll have to look, but I mean the quarterback thirst.
The thirst.
CJ Stroud.
CJ, you couldn't even get CJ Stroud. How embarrassing. Breece Hall, round 7, Breece Hall. Pack up your briefcase and get the heck out of here.
I might draft Zach Wilson. I might end up drafting 5 quarterbacks.
Yep.
The last 4 picks are all just bet on an injury, I guess.
The who's who of backup quarterbacks. Speaking of the who's who.
Am I dead? Oh, Zach is here.
Yep. The who's who. There he is. Zachary Krueger.
What's up, guys? How y'all doing?
I mean, I'm drowning, I think.
Oh my gosh. I could spend the next half hour talking about how Alan Seslowsky is absolutely killing me right now. He literally right into it. I had Anthony Richardson queued up at the top of my queue for round 2. I had Darren Waller queued up in round 4, and then I had Joe Mixon at round 6, and Alan literally took all of those players. So it's been a day, but we are.
Who invited him?
We need to look into who's running this thing and see what we can do about that next year.
I invited Alan. Yeah. Oh, good. Garoppolo and Mayfield. That's really what should happen. I mean, make it a surprise party and just have all quarterbacks. Let's get to 60 quarterbacks in this draft.
That's right.
Crack another one.
That's right. Crack another one for the quarterback.
Get the cards out. I'll start showing the cards to the camera.
But Zach, I know you got sniped like 4 times here, but how obviously you're going to love your team. We know. But how do you feel about it? How does it make you feel?
Man, I feel questionable about my team right now, to be completely honest with you. I heard you guys talking on the crazy quarterback run that we're seeing in this thing out the gate. That's obviously, going to put me in a position similar to Mike, where we're going to be literally battling it out for Easton Stick at the.
Is that right? Is that right?
It is Easton Stick. Yeah, Max
Wow.
Dugan, the TCU quarterback, is behind him and probably not going to make the team feel like keep 2. So it'll be Easton Stick.
Don't ask me another one.
That's what we'll need to be fighting for here. But Yeah, I mean, it's a team that I like. It's not a team I love right now. I got Daniel Jones probably as a little bit of a reach, kind of doing a Konami code quarterback play there. I also debated on going Kirk Cousins on the way back, but that would have been really bad for me because I have Daniel Jones with a Week 13 bye, and then Justin Jefferson and Kirk Cousins also would have had a Week 13 bye. So that really kind of just threw a wrench in that decision. So I went with Dak Prescott instead, which I don't necessarily love that either. So we'll see how this goes. It's a sharp room. We knew that going into it. The goal at the end of this might just be to have fun and hope for the best.
I mean, I hate it when it's like that.
Yeah, it's a tough room. I can't deny it.
I mean,
a lot of sharp players in this.
Every party or kids sports or anything that devolves to the point where somebody's like, well, it's just supposed to be fun. Card game, it actually was the worst.
Yeah,
I think that's how all alike in this room. Like when somebody, it could be your mother-in-law, it just could be some random person. They're like, oh, well, it's supposed to be fun. You know what? You're missing the whole point.
It is supposed to be fun, but
Alan
has ruined my experience.
It already was fun. There was no question about whether it was going to be fun. It already was fun. And now somebody is in the room saying it's supposed to be fun. It is. It's not. It's also supposed to be successful.
Yeah, that's where I'm worried about from my team right now, the success part, which I hear is not good. Mike, who do you have on your team? I haven't even gotten a chance to look at the board.
I don't know. Joe Namath.
Zach, word on Joe Namath, Hall of Famer, Joe Namath. Zach, word on the street is that you took Josh Allen and Mac Jones last year. Is that correct in this format?
Yes.
Yeah, I took Mac Jones last year
a little bit
and Josh Allen. No, we I think we finished third overall last year.
I meant quarterback. Yeah. No, Cody was.
You did great.
Cody was saying something about in shambles all year at the Superflex, but still finished top 5.
We were chatting all year about our positions. It was very close.
Yes, yeah. Mike and I were very close. That's correct. The quarterback position was an interesting one. Josh Allen really carried the team. I honestly think we would have had a chance had it not been for Mark Andrews, who we also had, he got completely sunk at the end of the season after Lamar went out, and he was definitely kind of helping carry our 0 RB team. We also had Kenneth Walker in the 11th round as the first running back off the board that year for our team, so that worked to our benefit. Quarterback situation obviously could have been better, but I really thought that it was kind of Mark Andrews who, his falling off the back half of the season really hurt us, as Mike takes Mike Evans from the top of my queue. So
I wanted Godwin.
The trick might be not putting players in my queue.
Come on. You know better than that.
We have you. Yeah. It's the deep end. We're watching you from every corner. So
it's bad omen here.
Yeah.
I know. I was foolishly concerned that, like, what if they asked me to share my screen and post my team, and then people would snipe me. But it doesn't even matter. I'll show you whatever you want to see.
That's my job tonight, Zach. It's my job. I'll tell you everything.
It sounds like you had a perfect 0 RB draft last year. You had your premium elite tight end, a premium elite quarterback, 9,000 receivers, and then you hit on the Kenneth Walker. Like that's how it's supposed to go, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was for Cody and I last year truly a perfect storm of overall situation and picks we had. I wish I remembered some of the other players who I had on our team as far as running back goes, but it was, like you said, it was kind of exactly how we would like to see a 0 RB build go. Let me make my pick here real quick.
I love how Smola, by the way, going back to the Tannehill, the quarterback run, like guys got Josh Allen and Deshaun Watson. He decides to just go Tannehill, just to get the host.
Henry. Who doesn't love the Ryan Tannehill, Derrick Henry combo?
Stack. That's right. For the 8 times he throws it to him over the course of the year.
What happens there? Are you buying Malik Willis hype at all?
I'm not. I don't know if you were talking
laughing,
to me.
So.
Yeah, no.
Not after last night. Or was it last night that he played, or 2 nights ago? I guess a couple nights ago. Yeah, he was atrocious in that preseason game against what you could only kind of presume was largely backup defenses. My goodness, dude, I can't get anybody here.
Getting killed.
I just lost Jahan Dotson to Ben Gretch.
I wanted him.
Listen, all these 0 RB guys in here just.
Well, that's what's really kind of just making this whole thing interesting is we've had so many guys.
Kerrane, Overzet.
Here, let's just do this because at this point in time, we're just here for fun, folks. Sky Moore.
Sky Moore's a great pick.
Let's go.
I love it.
Not going with Addison after already having 2 Vikings, and I'm out on Gabe Davis and Michael Pittman at this point. So we'll go with Sky Moore and see what happens. I found some stuff on him earlier today.
Whoa. Back up the Gabe Davis train for a second. Why are you out on Gabe Davis?
I mean, Gabe Davis, I'm sure he's a nice guy.
Oh, wow.
He is. I've met him. He's actually
I'm sure he's a nice
He's
guy.
a peach.
Obviously, I can't deny what he did in that one playoff game a few years ago against the Chiefs as well. But I think the few years of disappointment of Gabe Davis right now, just other players going in his range, I like their upside a little bit more, like Sky Moore. I think Sky Moore has a chance to just kind of be better there. So it's more out on Gabe Davis based on the cost of other players surrounding him. That I prefer to go in that direction over Gabe Davis because I still think it's going to be Diggs as an obvious wide receiver 1. I am drinking the Dalton Kincaid Kool-Aid a little bit, the Dalton Kool-Aid, some are calling it. If you want a good dad joke,
I love that.
if you want a good dad joke while you're on here,
Too late.
So yeah. I mean, I heard the Easton Stick one. That was honestly hard to top. But but yeah. So it's just one of those things where I don't hate Gabe Davis, the player. I'm worried that the overall target share will be a little low, even in a high volume pass offense, and with other players like a Sky Moore who plays in a high volume pass offense, who I really like heading into this season as far as his role that he's expected to see in the slot. I think in a PPR setting like this, I just prefer to go with him and see how things play out.
Speaking of Gabe Davis, I feel like Ian probably loves his team. He ends up waiting on receiver, getting JSN to go with Geno, getting Pickens to go with Pickett, and getting Gabe Davis. I feel like that's a nice. I mean, if you're going to wait on receiver and be stacked everywhere else, quarterback's not stacked, but he's got 3 guys that are going to, high upside, weekly type of guys. But
I love it.
Yeah, I like it too. If I'm going to wait, that's what I'd like to see.
I might offer him a trade.
Do it. Straight up, team for team.
Everything for everything. Yes.
Yeah, team for team.
In a trade. Like, listen, feel free to counter.
Yep. Zach, Javonte Williams. What did you think of his I said to myself and everyone, I'm like, people ask me, what do you think about Javonte Williams? I'm like, can I just see him play first? I just want to see what he looks like. He doesn't look all that bad. And then he gets all these targets. Like, was that a positive? You think that's positive? That run he got the other night?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously hard for it to not be a positive. 4 catches, 18 yards, and then an additional 3 carries, 12 yards. It was probably a little bit more volume than I expected to see of him, particularly in the passing game, obviously. But he could legitimately be the bell cow back right out the gate. There's been multiple reports on rotoworld.com, blurred by me, so certainly check that out. That Javonte Williams is he actually wants more of the workload from what we were seeing early on than what Sean Payton has given him. He sounds like he's a player that's got that proverbial dog in him. He wants to get out there. He wants to show what he can do, that he's ready to go and bounce back. And all the reports have been positive as far as his recovery goes. He wants to ramp it up more than what they've let him so far, which is, I would say, overall a good sign, assuming he doesn't overdo it. And if he comes out there and has even double-digit touches in week 1, I would say that's encouraging. But I mean, shoot, he just saw 8 opportunities in the preseason game. So double-digit touches seems like, we're kind of even lowballing him a little bit at this point in time, because he's going to see more than that in the regular season. So I'm all in on him. At the very least, I think he's one of several backs who are going later on in drafts who you can take and feel really comfortable about, especially if you're starting with a wide receiver heavy team, which I did here. Out the gate, I got Justin Jefferson, DK Metcalf, Drake London. Didn't take my first receiver until or my first running back until round 6. So came out and got a couple of wide receivers, and I think Javonte Williams is one of those guys that can definitely kind of bring it all together for you as far as a relatively discounted backfield goes.
And I think that's such a great point. It's another back, right? Like what have we been waiting for for too much? We're waiting for answers on questions, right? And now I think we have a little bit of an answer on guys like Javonte Williams, and guys like James Cook, who's getting a lot of the work now. Damian Harris has been injured, so we don't really know, but I think we're getting some answers on some of these mid-round running backs that can allow us to go receiver heavy and still get guys like David Montgomery Javonte Williams, James Cook, like guys like that in the late. Not that we needed answers on David Montgomery, but you know,
My
so
first ever time drafting him.
yeah. That's you. That's right.
Yeah, there we go.
Oh my God, big night tonight, folks, on the deep end.
Feels good.
Feels
so
good,
good, especially when you have one quarterback
in the 10th round of the Deep End Invitational.
That's right.
What value?
Great value. Oh, there goes. Did you get sniped, Zach, on Kincaid right there?
Funny you say
Jared
that. I had considered taking him, but I already had. Apparently, I like all the players on week 13. He has the same bye week as Hawkinson, so kind of decided to avoid that a little bit here. I'd like to see who Smola takes here. I don't know if he's looking. So
the Browns.
Yeah, so I'm halfway tempted by Alvin Kamara here. Just sounds like an insane value. I don't know if I love it, but I feel like my running backs are good enough where I don't need him for 3 weeks. So let's go with Kamara.
I like that.
We'll
Bills,
see what happens.
Vikings, Ravens, Raiders. 2 more, week 13. It's bare knuckle prep season.
Oh yeah, I forgot you do that. I want to come out one day to Vegas just to purely witness that because
come out.
Well, it needs to be on a Thursday because that's always on a Thursday after the opening game.
I will keep that. I will keep that in mind for the foreseeable future. It won't be this year, but it could be in the coming years for sure.
Giants, Mike. Giants and one more. Yeah.
Adam, Jared wanted Kincaid probably, right?
Yeah,
we get some Njoku. He's all sort of stacked up there. He's fine.
Yeah, he said he wanted Browns. See, I wasn't done drafting Browns either. So, you're still Zach. I know you're a big 0 RB guy. I love going 0 RB when I can. This year with receivers going higher than they've ever gone, are you still? Does draft position matter? Does format matter? What I guess what would get you off of like a 0 RB start? I guess.
Yeah, so I've been doing a lot of my drafting on FFPC this year, where the 0 RB is obviously still, or I'm sorry, the wide receiver heaviness is not quite as strong as it is on like something like Underdog, where it's like no one Underdog has heard of a running back until the 4th round.
Right.
So I've been drafting more on 0 RB or on FFPC in part because I do kind of like that 0 RB approach, and I just feel like it's one of those edges that's completely wiped out, over on Underdog, and just my overall preference of play between full PPR, I like the tight end premium quirk as well, and FFPC. So that's where I've been playing this year. As far as your question about draft position goes, I mean, for me, it just kind of really depends on, first of all, if sometimes we see the craziness of like a draft where you have a later pick on like that 8th or 9th round, and for some reason, one of those guys you expect to see going in the first 4 or 5 picks slips to the 8th or 9th pick, and you luck into a Tony Pollard, or I saw some draft the other day where someone got Christian McCaffrey really late, which is just kind of surprising to see as well. So you see things like that certainly kind of make you reconsider what you would actually do if someone you don't expect to see at that spot fell to you. But I love a lot of the wide receivers in their current ADPs right now. I like CeeDee Lamb to a degree. I'm a little concerned about their offense and how run heavy they're actually going to be based on some rather terrifying things Mike McCarthy said this offseason. But I like him. I love Amon-Ra St. Brown at the turn. I think Garrett Wilson has potentially a 10 touchdown upside season with Aaron Rodgers in town. You can get him around the turn as well. So, I mean, unless wide receivers are just completely off the board through the first round and a half, I'm probably starting a wide receiver build in most situations and then seeing how things shape up heading into the 3rd.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I'm kind of feeling the same way. There's some spots where I go like a hero RB build if you can get like the running back that you like, and then just go crazy receivers, tight ends, quarterbacks. I think a lot of people just don't understand too how to build 0 RB or even hero RB. You don't just take all receivers. You want to get that elite tight end and maybe even that elite quarterback. Both would be nice in that type of build, because you don't just want to take 8 straight receivers. It's not really what it's about. So
that's right.
It's super, super fun there. Mike, how you feeling after your Montgomery Charbonnet? I know you're a big Charbonnet fan.
You did know that. Yes. I have to hang in there in this thing. I have one quarterback through 11 rounds, and there have been 32 picked. So
one. Oh my God.
I have Herbert. because
I didn't realize that was what we were talking about here. When you said it, I was like, oh, he's got like 2 guys. He wants a third. You have
no,
one.
I was ready a few
Incredible.
times in the middle, but it never felt right for me. So like when it's 5, 6, 7, when they kept going like over here, and then you know what? I'm just going to have to go without, and I'll bet on backups.
Yeah.
So there are 3 or 4 quarterback situations in the league. Like who knows if Kyler Murray is going to play at all, right? I mean, I draft him all the time for upside. He's my second highest owned quarterback on Underdog, but like in this, so you do it, but he might not play at all. So what if the kid is good?
Yeah.
What if Trask is good? You know, like there's always these unknowns. Geno Smith last year, was he picked at all in the Draft Sharks Invitational? Like even at mid-August, was anybody picking Geno Smith at all? I mean,
yeah. I mean,
especially if we didn't know when that was the size. It was probably like a Smith lock thing, if I had to guess.
I think that's the only chance I have.
Yeah.
Well, no, I mean, if Herbert stays healthy, I mean, the whole.
Well,
season,
I need that too.
You need that too, right? You know,
but the only chance I have is if like a second quarterback out of nowhere. I meant it when I'm going to draft 4 at the end.
Yep, got to for sure.
It's going to get tight out there.
So many interesting builds again. You know, Jay Reid, who's not traditionally, I don't think, a 0 RB guy, waits till round 7 to get his first running back. You know, we had a lot of 0 RB guys in here. You know, with Pete and Pat and Ben and a lot of those guys. So, and obviously Uzak too. So it was interesting to see, like, I think, guys like Ian went in knowing his competition and said, you know what, I'm going to let them take all the yellow. I'm going to take everything else. Then I'm going to come back to it. So different ways to do it. Really, really cool.
Sorry, I'm focused right now.
Me too. Sorry. I'm sorry. It's not your fault.
I was surprised to see Schopp on here, given that he was drafting. I wasn't sure how you guys are going to do this.
Oh yeah, we're hardcore. We're doing every night.
That's how it goes on the deep end, guys.
Yeah, come on.
That's what we're hearing.
That's the deep end. We're going every night, and then first thing Friday morning before the sun comes up, I drive to DC.
Oh, do you?
And I drive to Louisville, Kentucky for the Kentucky Fantasy Football State Championship.
How is Kentucky, by the way? Is it going well?
Beautiful this time of year. Louisville. Zach, you ever been to Kentucky? Louisville?
I only passed through it. It'd be disingenuous to say I actually went. It was like on my way through another state. I passed through it briefly. So no, I have not.
Fine. No problem.
It was at a wedding in Indiana. I think it's like Indiana and Ohio and Kentucky meet like a border somewhere. Is that correct? How's my geography sounding?
There's a river in there somewhere.
There is a river. I think I sat near that river.
The Ohio River.
Yeah,
makes sense.
The Ohio River. That's a good name for it. We should stick with that. Sounds accurate.
I love it. Is Mike going to take edge of our seats? Is Mike going to take his second quarterback? Round 12.
Too early.
No, he's at the position now where he wants to take 4th his last 4 picks, and I think he like legitimately can. I love the Jaylen Warren pick, Mike.
Yes.
I've got Jaylen Warren propaganda coming out tomorrow on NBC Sports for one of my.
How much is it?
It is a late round article or it's on players who you can take in the late round of drafts for the final. I did final 4 rounds of a PPR draft using sleeper ADP, and I am all in on Jaylen Warren right now. I love his efficiency. Oh my gosh, dude!
Who
Jared
Beckham
doesn't like?
Yeah, so that's all I wanted. I just wanted Beckham. I was actually excited he was falling.
That's all he wanted was Beckham.
Why?
That's all he wanted.
I need more receivers.
That's right.
Oh,
I only have
that can happen.
I only have 4 right now. He was actually getting me pretty excited as a wide receiver 5.
Jaylen Warren's the new to Tony Pollard, right? He's the new all right. He's better than the starters, and to be there for 3 years. No one's got anything bad to say about him. He's sensational. He's the greatest running back of all time.
He is. No, he was hyper efficient last year though, and missed tackles forced per attempt. And yards per carry and yards after contact per attempt, yards before contact per attempt on yards per reception, on yards after the catch, literally all of these efficiency metric stats. He's better than Najee Harris in all of them. It's
I know.
I think that what it's going to come down to, and this has bitten the nerds before, so there's a good chance it does again. But I think what's going to come down to is if he looks like the efficient player we saw last season, then the Steelers are going to kind of have a choice to make between, do we want to go with the guy who is looking like the more efficient player on a per touch basis, or do we have this volume based driven running back here who has been our guy for the last couple of years, your first round draft pick? Is he someone who we can continue to rely on in this situation to get us where we want to be? And if they end up becoming disenamored with Najee Harris at all, and they love Warren's efficiency, then I could see there being a chance where you go to him. So I think Warren's pick is more of a bet on efficiency and perhaps eventually overcoming Najee on the depth chart here, as I look for a wide receiver with 30 seconds.
I just don't see it. Like, I just think that that's not, Tomlin's never done that. It's not his game. It's Najee's like the, tough, physical, plotting, like whatever, hard-nosed guy that's going to go, get his 3 yards in a cloud of dust. And I think I don't think he's going to get away from it. That doesn't mean Warren doesn't have value. I think Warren's a great 0 RB pick. See, Kenneth Walker last year, see Tony Pollard in years past, but the problem is that, he might also be like Zeke, where he just doesn't get hurt, or he gets hurt, he never comes off the field. Like, that's the problem with a guy like him, is he might not leave the field, and in Najee Harris, I mean, and so it's just, Warren might be a 0 on your bench. He might not have any standalone value, is what I'm saying. But I love Warren in like those type of builds, though.
There have been a lot of really encouraging reports recently that one report on the Steelers website itself and their writer who covers for them basically said, I forget the exact quote, but it was pretty much along the lines of, we know what each back is going to be heading into this season. It will be Najee on the early downs, with Warren working in on third down and passing downs, and some occasional early down runs. So I do think that is seriously trending towards it being a third down pass catching back situation for Warren. And if he's seeing 4 or 5 targets a game, then that's going to obviously raise his floor by a pretty good amount. And then additionally, it's going to lower Harris's overall ceiling. And we saw that a little bit last year. Harris actually caught 33 fewer balls last season than he did his rookie year. And that can probably be directly related back to Warren, who I believe caught just under 30 passes. And as a result, Harris was the running back 20 in fantasy points per game after being a top 12 back the previous season. So there's still more to be had on the target tree if they choose to give it to Warren. And that's kind of why I like him as a pick there. And then obviously there's the whole, if Najee goes down, we kind of know whose backfield it's going to be.
Adam and I were talking about that backfield a couple of months ago in here, and Adam was sort of pimping Jaylen Warren. And I said, listen, anybody who questions whether Mike Tomlin is going to give his bell cow running back 80% of the touches has never watched the Pittsburgh Steelers. And, it's
a very good argument.
Every day since has been a step toward the other side. Like, Warren busts a 67 or 62-yard touchdown run against Buffalo on the third play of the game. And, mic drop. And Najee runs 5 for 8 or whatever, means nothing. So that's going to be tested. I mean, Belichick, Tomlin, you want to see these legendary coaches adapt, and they don't always do it. I mean, maybe Pittsburgh does, maybe New England does, maybe Malik Cunningham actually plays a Taysom Hill role for New England this year. He was the quarterback at Louisville. They should. I've been on the air in Buffalo for 25 years. All those drought years, just be different. You're not beating Brady straight up. These coaches are going to get fired and they know it. The quarterbacks are going to get cut and they know it. You just got to be different. But, the owner's 90 and there's no sort of, sorry, I didn't have enough, clout to get that done. So they would just roll out they just draft running backs. Oh, CJ Spiller, Marshawn Lynch, roll out the same arguments every year and lose. And they lost to New England 20 out of 22 times or whatever it was. You've got to be different. And I want to think Belichick knows that. So maybe Tomlin does with the Bengals and the Ravens. Maybe he doesn't think he needs it. It is tipping, and I think, more of these creative sort of positionless role that kind of football is upon us.
Yeah, I mean, maybe not. Probably not for those guys though. Like you were saying, Najee's going to do what he does, and Warren's going to do what he does, and hopefully Warren can get a little more run than Tony Pollard was getting his first few years. Then they finally said, okay, we have to get this guy involved. Listen,
Adam, sorry. When are you drafting Najee Harris in these main events? Are you drafting him at 5-1? Like, irrespective of build. Like, when are you actually drafting Najee Harris?
That would depend on build, Michael. But
you have no running backs.
Let's go. I'm taking him. I'm taking him ahead of ETN. I'm taking him ahead of Rashad.
You are?
White. Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
That's answered. The question is answered.
Taking him ahead of. I think Dobbins ahead of all those guys. Anyways, let's go, J.K. Dobbins. But I think the big picture. I love this Steelers offense. I mean, they could be really sneaky, like cheap and good, like Pickens. Word at camp is that Pickens is evolving into a great receiver, not just a downfield deep guy, like a great route runner. He might be. I'm so overweight on Deontay Johnson. I might be, dipping into a little bit more Pickens. I loved Pickens coming out last year. I think I want to get back in the Pickens waters here because,
the Ohio River. Wait,
the Ohio River.
That's the Monongahela, I believe. That's actually not that's the Pickens Monongahela River. Sorry, go as
Steelers,
you were.
Seahawks, Week 17.
Right.
Love it.
I'm up.
You're up. QB.
Easy pick.
Right.
No.
The goal here is to not snipe me. Although I suspect there's a chance Mike could snipe me here. So we'll see what happens here.
Oh, boy.
Who has a knee sprain and then is back in a week?
Right. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, wasn't that something else?
Making diving catches.
Making diving catches in the end zone. Like, why are you even out there?
They were even quoted.
The only thing I didn't like about Kendre Miller last week is that he was playing.
Right. Yeah, exactly. They were quoted as saying that he might be ready for week 1. And then all of a sudden he's
back.
He's back. Here we go.
There's been a lot of that this summer, I think. Like, oh, he's carted off. They have a cart for every play. I think there's like 90 carts out there on these practice fields.
They do.
Everybody gets a cart. Why walk?
They do. It's a rite of passage, actually, is what I determined. If you get carted off on a practice field, you're on your way to something.
It's been a very optimistic. Well, that's not the word. Like the summer, all the injury news every day. There's like a little bit of a small flood of injury news in camp, and then like pretty much every time, everybody's been okay. Like they'll be Rashee Rice, right, or Justin Ross, 6 letters, 4 letters. Justin Ross. I'll be back. He's back out there the next day. Great catches. There's been 10 of those this summer. One Tim Patrick.
There really has been. It's actually been kind of insane.
I like. Well, I want to talk to you about the Jameson Williams pick. I know you're up in a couple picks here, but and then I'll ask you about that, and then we'll let you go, Zach.
Jameson Williams was yeah. Go ahead.
The Chiefs receiving core. What I like to do with them in best ball is just take. I think they're going to be a great best ball receiving core and a really tough lineup setting receiving core because you just don't know. Andy Reid's so good. Those receivers are kind of all the same, except I do think Sky Moore is the best one, but I think it's going to be tough to pick which receiver is going to do it each week. And you're on the clock, Zach. We'll let you make your pick and then talk to me about Jameson Williams and all the horrific camp. I'm trying. It's hard to see. Why was your 59? Is that what he went?
Sorry. Yeah, I'm trying to draft. Sorry.
No. I was zooming. It's hard for me to see.
Oh yeah, I can't even actually see that because I have my board shrunk down. Yeah, I selected Jameson Williams as a wide receiver 59. And that is what you do when you were sniped of Odell Beckham, Tyler Boyd, and Marvin Mims within a span of 8 picks. I don't like the Williams pick, to be completely honest with you, but I felt like I needed another wide receiver there. I felt good enough about my running back, so I had Tyler Boyd is what's at my 3, 4. Tyler Boyd is my wide receiver 5. Williams is my wide receiver 6. I think that despite all the bad camp reports and everything, that the undeniable upside of playing in, as shocking as it is to say this, but we're finally here. I think the undeniable upside of playing in a Detroit Lions offensive coordinator Ben Johnson is really one of the best in the game. We saw him lead the Lions to, I believe it was the 4th most points per game last season. They played aggressively. They have one of the best offensive lines in the game. Goff is a fairly mistake-free quarterback for a guy who's gotten a bad rep all these years of just kind of being some careless,
Right.
People treat Jared Goff like he's some kind of careless doofus on the field, if we're just being completely honest. But he has a low turnover rate, low interception rate. He threw for, was it 25 to 30 touchdowns? He wrecked it last season from a fantasy perspective. He was surprisingly very good. He was just outside the quarterback one range of that top 12. I think that maybe he takes another step forward this year now that he has Jahmyr Gibbs also.
Yeah.
Certainly we like Amon-Ra St. Brown. For as high as you're drafting Amon-Ra St. Brown, I think Goff falls squarely in that range of guy we should probably be a little bit higher on, but we're not because he's a Lion and he's Jared Goff. And
Jared Goof.
Jared
Goof.
Goof. He put that to bed last year. So
is Jared Goff a week 1 starter in the NFL in 2 years? Yes. 3 years?
Yeah. It's so hard to say because all that's going to be dependent on, I feel like, the Lions' overall progress as a team and whether or not the coaches feel like he's perhaps holding them back from something that they could be.
Wow. You know what?
What's
they're probably going to win this year.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's a weak division
Oh,
and they
yeah,
haven't won in
well.
a million years. So they'll win. And then he's set for life in Detroit.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, that's a great realization, actually. He probably is. Like, if they win 10 games, get to the playoffs, win the division, it's Golf Town, baby. Unless unless for some reason the following year that they regress back to kind of just being a middling team that no one really respects or something like that. But I think he has a chance to kind of be there for as long as he wants to be, unless, like I said, the coaching staff believes like he's kind of that guy holding them back, and maybe they find someone else who they like. I feel like you can kind of think of Joe Flacco and the Ravens a little bit like that. Joe won the Super Bowl, obviously got the big extension, but then at the end of the day, he was still with the team when they went out and got Lamar Jackson. They kind of saw the way things were trending, and they knew that they needed an improvement at the quarterback position. Right. They decided to take a shot on Lamar in the first round at pick 32, and over time it evolved into being a Lamar Jackson team. Even though, if I'm not mistaken, I think the Ravens had a winning record when they ultimately benched Flacco, if I'm not mistaken, because they made the playoffs.
Honey,
they made the playoffs.
I mean, he got hurt. Jackson went in. They won every game but one.
Yeah,
and then they lost to the Chargers in the playoffs on pretty much his worst day. They still almost came back and won, then he fumbled again. Like, he was so young. But, yeah, they took off. I mean, his stats are really interesting from his rookie year because, like, they were not really good.
No.
He ran like crazy. They beat Atlanta. They beat Oakland. And then the next year, he was the unanimous MVP, leading the league in touchdown passes and running for I don't know if it was 1,000 yards or what.
Yeah, I think it was like 11 to 1,200. It was whatever it was. It was the quarterback record for most rushing yards in the season.
They ran for 3,000 yards as a team that year, and that record is on life support. Like this year,
right?
I would bet whatever close to even money that somebody breaks it. Richardson breaks it.
Yeah, especially if JT leaves, Richardson's rushing for 1,000 yards for sure.
Oh yeah,
just let the youngster run.
And I mean, Shane Steichen, I think, has a blueprint on kind of what to do with Anthony Richardson because he did it with Jalen Hurts.
Fields went for 1,100 on the team that finished with the worst record in the NFL and couldn't throw. How does that make sense? How is anybody
logic.
Like a running back can't get 4 yards on an average run on a team that's got the worst record in the league? Like you have to throw. You're always losing. Worst record in the league, and he still rushed for 1,100 yards. It's going off right now.
That's right. 70-yard touchdown runs. That'll help. Quick, guys. Question in the chat. Kendra Miller or Evan Hull?
Miller.
Yeah, I like Evan Hall, and I like the possibility of him maybe being a starting running back if Jonathan Taylor actually leaves. But at this point in time, I would say Miller. Why not both? Honestly, if it's just a regular season draft, their ADPs are so far apart, you could take both of them easily.
This was a question of adding one off the waivers and dropping one on the already on the current.
In that case, you have to go with Miller for now. Yeah.
But I think if the Colts trade JT, I mean, I think they'll either get a running back in the trade, or they'll go get like a Lenny Fournette, or they'll make another trade to get a guy. But be interesting to see. It's cool that all these running backs going. Mostert here, last of the 15th round. Granted, it's super flex, but all these kind of guys are going a little bit later because we have the quarterbacks going higher. And Michael Wilson. There has not super flex draft. There's not been a quarterback drafted for what? 10 rounds.
I mean, right?
It's insane. 10 rounds has it been?
That's
my time to shine. My time. I'm losing, but I'm making my point. The last quarterback to go was Mayfield, 7-11.
Yep.
Quarterback 32, the exact number of NFL teams. So
just absolutely insane.
That number is about to go up, boys.
Yeah. Eight rounds. Oof.
Zach, can you stay to the end? Do you want to, or no?
Yeah. No, I'm good here. If you guys want to have me on, I'm happy to keep on talking.
What I would say is absolutely. Then I would just pretend to be disconnected and then never show up again. That's funny.
I'm going to take Ben Jefferson here because
why not?
Nothing is going my way at the moment.
You only have 2, right?
I only have 2 as well, Mike. I won't be taking 4 quarterbacks at the end of this thing, but I've definitely got my eyes on a few. So
you're taking 2 more. It's going to be you versus me pretty soon.
Yeah,
there's a smash pick coming up for you in 17. I know you won't take a quarterback here, but I could see you taking 2 after that.
Yeah, I probably will. I'll lean to it. The one thing that I do also kind of concede with some of these drafts. If I lose Daniel Jones and Dak Prescott at this point in time, my team's probably finished. So I don't know if anyone I'm going to take it later on is going to end up saving me. So there's a part of me that just wants to kind of assume that my quarterbacks stay mostly healthy and I keep taking shots on upside and hopes that something breaks my way. But let me see here.
Yeah, you can't.
Here's the big question while Zach picks, by the way, Adam, if I can slip this in. Is Baltimore winning?
I think they're up 7-3.
Zay Flowers, right?
Was it Zay?
Zay Flowers scored a touchdown, I believe, against the Commanders' first-round draft pick, Emmanuel Forbes.
I just saw a post that maybe you didn't write because you're working. Yeah, he scored a touchdown from RotoWire. Allen, your arch nemesis, dominates opening drive. Not Allen, Zay Flowers.
Wow. Incredible.
I'm up. Is it time?
Is it quarterback season?
Season. Come on. Is it quarterback Saison?
Okay, there you go. I mean, there's one right out of the way, Mike.
That's right. Here comes the run.
Here
comes the run. That was it. That started the run.
The Mike Schopp quarterback run we're all about to witness.
Right.
Every draft I host at my house, which I think a little bit I'm doing tonight. I draft terribly because I'm so obsessed with, is everybody having fun? Did you understand the rules? Did you get here on time? Would you like something to drink? Is the dog bothering you? We have Sergeant Peepers who can fly down, so just keep the doors closed. I'm obsessed with that. Like, I just don't want anybody to be unhappy when they leave. And that's why I lose, because in my drafts that I host at my house, everybody loves their team when they leave. And I'm like, all right, well, it was, I won some new friends and, it was a nice day. So I've never had a good draft when hosting. And I feel a little bit, it's Deep End West tonight, the official drink of Deep End West, the Gibson. I mean, I just want everybody to sort of like the league and be happy about it. It's a free roll for a lot of money. Let's all be friends. And, you can have my one quarterback super flex team through 17 rounds.
If you want to talk about drink of the night here, I can tell you that I personally opened an Ellicottville Blueberry wheat.
The blueberry
Yeah.
wheat, the famous elegant.
I had to
blueberry
pull
wheat.
this out, Mike. This is I'd never leave Buffalo without it as a wannabe 716er. The blueberry wheat is making an appearance
Sorry about that, by the way.
in my Bills glass that I have here. So
baby.
Wow.
we,
Delicious.
we're fully.
Where's my
No, you
Bills
don't need to
glass?
apologize, Mike. The wannabe Bills bit is part. It's part of my persona. Even my college buddies from Buffalo, they would always introduce me to their friends around town as this is Kruegs. He wishes he was from Buffalo, but he's not. So it's been established at this point in time.
Zach, where do we have drinks? And was it in Alexandria?
It was. I can't remember the place, but it was Alexandria.
It was a horrible place, like with a million TVs and peanuts on the floor. One of those places.
It was so
a
loud
disaster.
too. I mean, I guess you expect that from a sports bar, but it was loud. If you're around when I'm in town, when you come up here, we can link up and try to do something different than that.
My niece is getting married on Friday in Washington. She works at the Capitol, and it should be a great day. Or Saturday, actually. I should know what day it is. Saturday.
Yeah, please show up on the correct day, Mike. We're all asking you to.
Yeah, Friday is the driving day.
There you go.
Look at this league. What a league!
I mean, it's incredible. I was tweeting it out today, and I'm like, oh my god, like they're all tough, but then you're just like locking on these, man. It's just so good. I've seen Zay Flowers at the top of the board. I just finally saw the touchdown. Looks elusive, looks quick, looks awesome. I mean, it's so cool that too. Like back when I started playing fantasy, it was gotta wait 3 years for these receivers to break out. Now they come NFL ready from the college. Well, I think it's more to the NFL is going to transition to more of a passing spread college type offense. So it makes these receivers, these little guys like Zay Flowers can really succeed. They get them out in space, they get them the ball early, let them do what they want to do. They're not all alpha X receivers on the outside. Mike, you want to say something?
I do. I'm sorry. I was on the off chance that our ship chasing friends are watching. We'll see you in Vegas in 2 weeks. Justin Herbert and Kyle Trask have the same bye week.
Oh boy. Well, you weren't only taking 2, so let's go.
Yeah,
you're
you
taking
still
6 more,
you still got time to shine.
and you didn't start the run either, so you got time. Listen.
I thought that would be funny.
Come on. Did you do it on purpose? That's the question.
Did I take 2 quarterbacks with the same bye week on purpose? No,
Yeah.
I would have liked to take 2 quarterbacks in the first 15 minutes of the show.
Sure, that's right. That's right.
That didn't happen either.
32 quarterbacks. I couldn't get one. They just all went.
Oh, okay. So Zach needs one too. For me, there is a best quarterback on the board, but it's like 40-60. I'm going to be right or agree with you're going to agree with me on
I
this.
can't see the whole board, and I don't have the draft room in front of me. Is Kyler Murray gone?
He went to
Kyler
Overzet.
Murray. If this were Oregon Trail, Kyler Murray is already to Willamette Valley popping beers. Like it's just it's so long ago.
Was it?
Sixth round.
Okay.
Sixth
Like I said, I
round.
can't see 6.
And he takes Clayton Toon, who was they're just messing with
wow.
both of us now.
For the bid.
Clayton Toon was the answer.
He did.
That was
for
who
the
I
bid.
thought you were talking about. I wasn't going
He's
to take him,
probably
but I had a
starting.
feeling. I mean,
Wow.
why wouldn't you take Clayton Toon as a starter? Like to
Clayton
me,
Tune.
it just
Easy.
Mike,
easy
take Stetson Bennett, please.
No.
Well, that's actually not a bad idea.
I like Stetson Bennett.
Not a bad-
If he's the quarterback too, and Stafford's injury history, maybe Stetson Bennett has to throw it 30 times, a couple times. this season.
Cooper Kupp. Yeah,
I'll be there in a second. I'll make it on time.
He'll have an alpha receiver there. Everyone in the chat wants you to take Stetson Bennett. You're gonna
No.
let the fans down.
I don't read the chat.
That's why I'm here.
Well, if you don't take Bennett, who we got? That's who I thought you were going to go with. That's who I thought the next pick was going to be. If it wasn't going to be. Well, then
There must be some mistake. There's a little star next to my guy's name. I don't know how that happened. That was not planned. That was not planned.
Oh no!
You didn't mean to take O'Connell?
Well, I was looking, and then the time ran out. It was almost like I was watching the Establish the Run podcast in every round last night.
Right.
As the time ran out. But no, that's fine. He was next up on my list.
This is gonna be exciting. What an exciting build this is going to be.
He's wearing number 4.
Yeah.
For the Raiders.
Maybe a bad omen, but
what a ballsy move.
That's a starting number nonetheless. That's true. It is
Derek Carr wore number 4 for the Raiders. This guy shows up out of the 5th round or something, 4th round, and like, give me the guy's number from last year. It's pretty good.
It is.
That's confidence.
Yeah, for sure. There goes Stetson. We knew Stetson was going soon.
Yeah. Well, your Stetson, your classic Stetson Van stack.
He's a Stetson man. Was what it is. Mims, Zay Jones.
Is true. The Stetson band.
Mims, Zay Jones, Curtis Samuel, Gallup, Devontae Parker, Mike. Can you scroll up? I want to see team 1. Are they lacking receivers going into round 12? Oh, look at that. Well, yeah, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 3
Love
through
it.
8, 3 through 11, and then just load up.
So Ben has 4 running backs, and one is James Cook, who we're off. One is Swift, one is Foreman, one is Gibbs. That's really, I mean, push in, Ben. Let's go. Singletary, right? I mean, I'm off Cook, and people are always bugging me about Cook, and you too, Adam. He's not fast enough. He's not big enough. Arcel Capaccio, it's like he's going to play Singletary's role. There's the Allen goal line stuff. I mean, I just can't see how James Cook adds up to Matt Kelly, and I have talked about this on the deep end and on his show. So I'm thinking about it right now. It just doesn't add up to a winning profile for me. It depends. I mean, if you pick him in round 9, like we were doing in May or something, that's
now you're
fine,
definitely not taking him. Right.
I'm having a tough time. I always have a tough time with Cook.
And it's not like he showed out when he's getting the playing time, but he had a little 11, 12-yard touchdown run last week. This week, the whole team looked like they didn't even get off the bus. So, it's going to be, it's a guy that I'm not going to take it. I mean, Pacheco at least is as good and behind an elite offensive line in an elite offense. Like there's nothing that James Cook has that's better than Pacheco, except for maybe the pass down role. But they don't throw to the running back, so it doesn't matter.
Was that Allen's 4th quarterback? No. So, all right. In his defense, he only had 2 also, Zach. Fields, Richardson up top, and then Clayton Tune. That's good. I'd like that a lot. So, sorry.
Calvin Austin. I've been hearing good things out of Pittsburgh for Calvin Austin.
He cooked Elam on that one play.
That's right. And that whole team got cooked.
Well, let's sort of draw to a close here. Zachary Krueger. Here we are at the end of round 19, night 1 of the Deep End Invitational. Adam and I will be back here tomorrow commenting on other people's drafts, which is much easier than when it's your own. Adam is drafting on Wednesday, and then we go Thursday night as well. Want to preview tomorrow's lineup, Adam? Do you have it? I can get it.
I don't have it in front of me, but
I got it. I'll get it.
Pull that up. Well, we asked Zach. Zach, your team, did you go right? Did you go wrong? Overall thoughts?
Alan Seslowsky's team makes me think my process is really good until Alan Seslowsky came along and took all the players who I like. So as far as how things shaped up at the end of the day, I'm not mad about my team. It's a tough room. I will say it's not every day you draft in rooms this tough. So evaluating your overall team is a little bit tricky here. I don't hate my plays, though. I think I got decent enough target volume. I have a couple players at the wide receiver position. I really like the overall youth of my running backs. I like the fact that they all seem to kind of be those bell cow pass catchers that I like to look for in zero RB builds. And then tight end, Hawkinson, Schultz. I think those guys could both, obviously see a decent amount of targets in their offenses. And Mike Gesicki. Quarterbacks are fine. Stetson Bennett will probably end up carrying this team, obviously. But
if he does, you're in great shape.
Yes.
Yes. Many are saying that if Stetson Bennett carries his team in real life, that he's probably carrying my team, which is obviously also good. So I like it overall. I mean, it was obviously a lot of fun drafting this team, and I do think that this will hopefully have a chance, at least for now. And in a couple of weeks, I may feel differently. We'll see. We'll see about that. But
Some are saying
Summer Stetson Bennett will carry a lot of fantasy teams in 2023.
Yikes!
But I do appreciate you guys having me on. It was a lot of fun. Hopefully, I didn't overstay my welcome. Always a pleasure to chat with you too. And
we begged you to stay.
Yeah, and certainly thanks, for even just inviting me to do this again. Obviously, it was previously with the Draft Sharks Invitational, but always fun to be a part of this tournament and to get a draft against a lot of high-end people. So I appreciate you guys having me on and inviting me back for another chance to do this again.
Awesome.
Zach, they almost played you off. Tomorrow, Fantasy Mojo, Dwayne McFarland, Rich Rebar, Cody Carpentier, the Go Bills team, the two-time main event winners, Matt Kelly, the Podfather, Bob Harris, JJ Zacharyson, Death Dealers, Hillard, Theo, Britt Flynn, and Billy.
Oh my God.
Is that good, or should we replace somebody?
What
I got time. I got a day.
What an absolute another squad.
You know you've made it when you go by Billy. That's when you know that you've made it. Okay.
Good night.
True.
Good night.
That is true.
Good night, everyone. Thanks, Zach.
Hey, I want to take a moment to thank you for tuning in. It's important to me that all of our media be free. This is only possible because of you allowing a true independent sports media enterprise to thrive unlike any other in the business. So please subscribe to the All In Package to continue to make all of this possible, to ensure that all of our stats, information, data, content is available to you, especially you, the people that get the site and get the show.